So that injury prevention, if you wanted to talk a little bit about that, like the injury prevention is preventative, obviously. So it's not simply for those with bigger issues, right? Injuries, but it's the niggly stuff. So if you could touch on that, would be great, Laurie.
It is a way to assess niggling issues. So let's say if your client does have a little bit of discomfort on an overhead press, then you need to have a simple way of observing what would be, let's say, the optimal functional way of doing an overhead press. And so then if we boil it down into that shoulder, so this is what you would do, kind of depending upon where your client's problem is. If it's a knee problem, you would spend more time assessing how that knee moves under this particular load. But let's say it is your shoulder, then it is a case of, let's say, breaking down that row, right? That row, and then coming straight into that vertical press from there. And as long as you know what to look for, now that is the kind of proviso. You've got to know what you're looking for, or else it's like, well, that's boring. I've done that 100 million times already, like a lunge or an overhead press. But if you don't know quite what you're looking for, then it doesn't have the meaning and the value it could have. So for example, for the vertical press, one of the key elements is and this is surprisingly uncommon, all right? But it shows up in healthy shoulders and it doesn't show up in unhealthy shoulders, is the elbow directly vertically underneath the load. Okay, something as simple as that. If that's an automatic thing for a client to bring the elbow in underneath before the load happens, that's a sign of a healthy functioning glenohumeral joint and scapulothoracic joint. So you need to assess that. How well do they do the row, then bring that elbow under before they do the vertical press? And there's other elements to it as well, but that's a key element there. So know what you're looking for. And if you're not seeing that, you've got to slow it down and have a program for correcting that. So what are you going to perhaps do a myofascial release on if your client lands here with a forward hand and can't really do a very healthy, smooth, pain-free overhead press? What areas would you target for greatest effectiveness in terms of myofascial release, but then also in terms of breaking it down for a nice corrective exercise that is relevant to the overhead press? That might be, in this case, after some myofascial release, and you'll have to go in and learn what those areas ideally are. But then you might do even just a hold, bring it in from the row just to a hold, and ensure gradually with a lightweight, then gradually heavier, that they land immediately with a vertical forearm in, as Tarek mentioned, not the side-on position, not the front-on position, but what we would call scaption. So something like 30 degrees forward of the line of the body, bringing that elbow forward before they do a bit of a hold and a press there. A little example, right? There's a lot of content in there. So you can either be getting that on the Fitwell platform when it gets released. I'm not sure if it's quite released yet, but as soon as it is, and all the information will be there. But there's also our online courses, Rehab Express online, through Functional Training Institute, or through other modes as well. You can get that on our website and so forth. So that's a quick sort of blah blah snapshot on how you'll take the 5 classic areas of difficulty for chronic problems and begin to observe and then correct and improve on that movement quality, and thereby you're doing injury prevention. No question about that.
Yeah, big time. No, that's a great example. And it's so pragmatic, this stuff, and you can plug and play and get results right away and broaden out one's understanding of that rehab system. And then that's very complementary to other methodologies, of course, as well. And, hence why, we collaborated to include elements of what FTI teach. And the whole idea of Fitwell is to bring all of this knowledge to the fore. And going back to those, the example you gave of the 5 key areas, that I think that alone is going to help coaches, trainers, movement specialists, with any type of problem or difficulty they have. Yeah. And of course, you've got the methodology of the talk, see, do, and that you talked about the observation being so essential. And I think utilizing the plain language with the technical stuff and is also a great way to coach, for trainers to coach their clients. So It's all brilliant stuff. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we, conclude this session?
Yeah, no, I suppose our journey has been from taking you could say, much more complex world of sports physiotherapy, and then seeing where the average personal trainer is at, and seeing that huge kind of chasm, and really seeking to bridge that gap. And so the way that we've done that is to kind of come full circle into some pretty simple concepts, but taught at a very kind of, you could say, deep level, rather than very complex concepts. And that's, so Neil, you've just brought up the question of wear and tear and prevention of that. I think you've just written there, mate. This is all part of minimizing what are natural age-related changes, okay? So we don't tend to get into, big scary words like osteoarthritis these days, or tendon tearing and stuff. There will be all of that stuff in the natural process of humans aging. Doing this kind of exercises, even just strengthening generally, this is the key element. That's why I'm so excited to be mostly, if not solely, involved in the fitness industry, because the evidence is stronger than ever, even in the physiotherapy research world, that strength delivered in the right way is the key to injury prevention. You can quote me on that, right? Strength delivered and coached in the right way is the key to injury prevention, and also ultimately the key to fixing injuries. You have to ultimately get strong again in that area that's become hypersensitized, or become weakened, or become stuck, or even a bit degenerative, right? So you have to know how to get clients strong again in those areas. It's the only way ultimately to fix injuries.
Yeah. I totally agree. And that's what research is saying. And I think the phases are so important. If someone lacks the ability to have any type of loaded movement, then they get to peel it back. So I think it's terrific advice and wisdom all rolled into one. So Ulrik, really appreciate your time. Thank you, Neil, for staying the distance. And for those who are going to continue to watch this stuff, cheers. Thank you, mate. We hope that we deliver high quality, as Ulrik termed the Fitwell platform. And it is a work in progress, and we appreciate people like yourself, Ulrik, and those who have faith in this journey. It's pretty exciting. Or maybe not just pretty, but just exciting. So thank you again. And Neil, I'll pin you the trial and give you some more information on what Ulrik is doing with other courses. So I'll send you through some stuff and look after you as well if you're wanting to come on board some of our programs, and that goes for others as well. So this has been great. I always love just listening and learning from you, mate, and we'll do it all again, and we'll look forward to the release of your course. I can't give it an exact date, but things are moving, quite well with Fitwell, with the launch of content and just the layout. So, all exciting stuff. And you keep well, mate, and I'll catch up with you soon, Ulrik. And Neil, thanks again.
Thank you for this platform, and thank you for being here and for listening. All right, take care, everyone. If you did, I'll say goodbye now.
All right.
Take care. All the best, everyone.
Cheers.